Oh, yeah. Yeah. God damn it. Welcome to the best show on the internet. I am the original, deplorable, irredeemable asshole, Nick DiPaolo. How are you? That's right. I was ahead of all these idiots. 19 years I was called irredeemable. Don't forget that. By my parents, by everybody. It's a beautiful thing. Little cold open for you. Want to do a weed deal? How about the fact that the guy that got hit by the car in that scene got limped away and he's not even injured that bad? Some minorities are some of the toughest bastards out there, I gotta say. I don't even... Guy probably plays for Seattle. He's day-to-day with a crushed kneecap. That reminded me of a scene in The Sopranos, which I'm going to have Raz watch from beginning to end, all 6, 7 seasons, when Beansy was run over, just like that, by Richie Aprile. Drove his car right into him, only paralyzed him. It's the funniest thing you've ever seen. And then Tony said to Richie, I thought I told you to back off Beansy. He goes, I did. Then I threw it in drive and fucking backed over him again. It's a violent country, folks. What can I tell you? It's America. We were founded on violence, and that's the way we like it. Anyways, real quick, and this is very important. Listen up. Starting next week, this show will air at 9 p.m. That's right, 9 p.m., when there's a ton of traffic on the internet. And I got a huge announcement coming in December. I can't tell you about it right now. But 9 p.m. Eastern time, the Nick DiPaolo show at nickdip.com. So make sure you remember that, okay? We did a little survey, a little poll. I don't believe in political polls, but I believe in this one. And people, we said afternoon or after dinner. And after dinner's winning out like 2-1. So it makes sense to me. That's when everybody's home and paying attention. I have people after the show come up to me when I do live shows go, yeah, I listen to it at work. And I'm like, what, do you work for the government? How are you listening to my podcast? Another guy got in trouble. He was playing it on the speaker, and the jerk off next to him was like a liberal, and he fucking ratted on him. I'm causing havoc out there. I wouldn't have it any other way, would you? I don't think you would. Coming to you live, Patreon members.
We'll do it live.
We'd love you.
We'll do it live. Fuck it.
That'll change next week. We'll record. It'll be live. It's the same shit. I'll be out there with breaking news. But this is how I feel today.
Man, fuck you and your bone spurs.
I come outside. I'm in Georgia, Savannah. I moved down here in April. The day I got down here was 98 from about 98 degrees. Dipped into the hundreds all the time. I should say raised into the hundreds till about September. So every morning I go out and I sit in my shorts and T-shirt smoking as people jog by me. And I give them the finger and they give me the finger back. And I come out today, I can see my fucking breath. What was it, Raz? 40s? Yeah. It was in the 40s. My house was freezing. Maybe even lower than I don't know. But now I have to get on a goddamn plane on Friday and go up to New York. Not only up to New York, to Albany, and then a 2.5-hour drive from Albany, even further north, up by Syracuse. They're finding dead penguins on the sidewalk with cold sores. It's so fucking frigid and ugly up there. That means traveling with an 800-pound pea coat, and I really want this show to become huge. I'm not leaving the fucking house till I'm 80, and that'll be for my funeral. Anybody with me? All right, enough of the bullshit. But 9 p.m. Eastern time, starting Monday. Oh, well, who's back in the news again? We can't get her out of the goddamn... Hillary Clinton, under enormous pressure to run in 2020. She said she has many people pressuring her to run. So I put on Twitter, yeah, they call Republicans, you fucking power-hungry twat. 700 likes. I have my finger on the pulse of this country, I'm telling you. That's Hillary. Imagine listening to this for 8 years. Anyways, Clinton, she was doing a BBC interview. She always talks tough when she's in England and other places and NPR and people that think like her. Fucking idiots. Excuse me. I've had 6 cigarettes. What time is it? 17 Democrats are already vying to lead the party in 2020. Speaking of BBC Radio in the UK on our book tour, I wonder how that's going. Who is buying that fucking book? Huh? I'll buy it. I'll hang it in a tree and practice my shotgun. Mrs. Clinton was asked whether she would run again, and here's what the thick-ankle dogface had to say.
Are you going to run again?
No.
That is 100%. So in a few days, I'm not going to open my newspaper.
Well, I never say never to anything.
You've only got a
that's-
few days left.
I know it's way past
Especially
time.
lying.
But I think all the time about what kind of president I would have been and what I would have done differently and what I think it would have meant to our country and the world.
I'll tell you what you had done differently. You would have us apologizing like Obama did. White old guys like me will be pushed to the side. You get people back on government cheese. You have nothing to fucking offer, nothing new. You're a sellout. Back in the 60s and 70s, you were a lib, you were a radical, and then you became a corporate shill. And not that it matters. I can't stand her. But go ahead.
So of course I think about it. I think about it all the time.
Is that mic big enough?
Being able to do that. And
Speaking
look,
it to
whoever
Kermit the
wins,
Frog's ass.
next time is going to have a big task trying to fix everything that's been broken.
Oh,
How would
pause.
you feel?
Everything that's been broken. Yes. The hottest fucking economy on the globe since Trump took over. ISIS crushed. The stock market's going through the roof. Black, brown, yellow, women's unemployment at record lows. So you're gonna fix all that? What do you do? Reverse it? You're full of fucking shit. Will you people stop voting for these assholes? Go ahead.
If in the next 48 hours or so, while she's on this trip in the UK, your mum decides
Nice
to
forced
throw her
laugh.
hat
What a
back
phony
in.
whore.
Well, I'm always in her corner, Emma. So, whatever she decides to do on any given day, I'm here to
All right,
support and love her.
That's enough. Jack-o'-lantern face talking to me. The Democratic race is still largely up in the air, even as the first of the state-by-state votes that will decide which of the contenders challenge Trump's looms in Iowa in February. Yeah, Clinton says she's getting pressure, mounted pressure, for her third run. And you know who's putting that pressure on? Trump. He wants to stomp her like a red-headed stepchild. The perceived vulnerability of one frontrunner, and that would be our friend Joe Biden.
What are we doing? What's going on right now?
Joe, we're taking you out of the men's room, and we're bringing you to Iowa. Has spurred former New York Mayor Michael Bloomberg to take steps to enter the fray. What did I say to Donald Jr.? What did I say to Donald Jr., Donald Trump Jr., when I was talking to him? I said Bloomberg is going to get in there. I don't know. I think he would be a threat, actually. You know who else is thinking about it? This guy is a mamaluke, as the Italians say. Former Massachusetts Governor Deval Patrick, who is Barack Obama light, a close ally of Obama, is also reportedly considering jumping into the race. I get scared when I have black guy in race, because they always win the race, let's be honest. Nick, that was stereotypical. Kiss my grits. But the deadline has already passed to file on the Democratic primary ballot in several states, including New Hampshire, which also votes in February. The filing deadline for Alabama expired last week, and the deadline for Mrs. Clinton's former political heartland of Arkansas was on Tuesday. Some of the 14 states that will vote on so-called Super Tuesday in March have filing deadlines next month. So the thick-ankle dogface and Deval Patrick and all the other idiots, they better get their shit in gear. You remember what Giuliani did? He skipped all those. And he put all his eggs in Florida. And how'd that turn out? Guy might be going to jail. Like a good Italian. Some of the speculation has been stoked by the Clintons themselves. Last month, when Mr. Trump goaded Mrs. Clinton to enter the presidential race, she retorted in a tweet, "Don't tempt me," as she was eating a 6-foot hero, a meatball, I believe. "Do your job," she said. And Trump said, "Why don't you suck on my wrinkled old white nuts?" Okay, I added that. He would say something like that. The latest polling suggests Joe Biden and titless Liz Warren, half Cherokee, are the front runners. And Bernie Sanders, I'll tell you, the old Jew, he's still got a lot of piss and vinegar. And Pete Buttigieg are not. By the way, yesterday in Iowa, Pete Buttigieg is leading them all. That's right, the little gay soldier is leading them all. And I said this also. Remember after the last debate, I said he was the best one on the stage. The guy is really smart, but he's a two-faced fuck like most of these people. He's more radical than Obama if you look into his policy views. And I don't know how that can be when you're a soldier and you see action and come back with some type of socialist mentality. But he's leading in Iowa right now. And they're asking all the people he's running against, and they're like, oh, Iowa isn't that important. Okay. Anyways, you know what today is? The big day. It's the opening public on TV, I believe, of the impeachment inquiry hearings, which is going to make for great. I can't wait to get home. It's like porn for me. I will have a bottle of hand cream and a big wet rag next to me as Adam fucking bug-eyed Schiff makes an asshole of himself again. How can you people, I'm talking to white people now, for the most part, how can you, after the Russia hoax, did you see how quick the Russia hoax went away? That's how you know it's bullshit. They don't even bring it up anymore. After them being wrong on the election, Hillary was supposed to win. Trump fucking upends her. Then you're wrong about the Russia hoax. Then you're wrong about Brett fucking Kavanaugh. What am I forgetting? I'm forgetting another one. And you're going to be wrong about that. Why would you put your faith in these people? And why wouldn't the Democrat Party use somebody else to do this phony impeachment hearing? Why would you use the same people that were wrong about the Russia hoax? I don't understand it. Adam Schiff tapped a former MSNBC contributor. I'll repeat that. A former MSNBC contributor to question Kurt Volker, the U.S. envoy to Ukraine, during a closed-door hearing on Thursday. Do you believe this shit?
Son of a whore!
Daniel Goldman, a former legal analyst for MSNBC, posed multiple questions to Volker during Thursday's closed-door interview of Volker. Everything's closed door. What does that tell you? Fucking weasel. Payroll records from the U.S. House of Reps shows that Schiff hired Goldman in January of 2019. How can the American people, and this is just what I said, trust that this impeachment process is fair if MSNBC and Adam Schiff are running the show behind the scenes? A congressional official with direct knowledge of Thursday's hearing told the Federalist. This partisan mockery cannot be ignored. Schiff should be ashamed. He can't be. He's shameless like the rest of the libs. At one point, Goldman became so flustered during his questioning of Volker that Schiff, listen to this, Schiff unexpectedly shut Goldman down. That's not a good sign for the Dems, and began questioning Volker himself. Following a New York Times report that the anti-Trump complainant, that's the whistleblower, and his team previewed their allegations with Schiff's committee before filing the fucking complaint with the Intelligence Community Inspector, that's the ICIG, Schiff was blasted for blatantly lying about his committee's secret coordination with the anti-Trump complainant. Schiff's most egregious lies about his staff's illicit interactions with the anti-Trump whistleblower were made, ironically, on MSNBC. So here's Adam Schiff lying a few months ago, right on national TV.
We have not spoken directly with the whistleblower. We would like to.
You're lying. And you're a piece of shit.
You bug-eyed bag. Fuck you, Schiff. Nick, relax. I can't. Fourth cup of coffee, 6 cigarettes, shooting through my... And here, play the second clip of MSNBC questioning Schiff.
We have not spoken directly with the whistleblower. How does he explain that when clearly at that point the whistleblower had come to Chairman Schiff's committee?
So we talked for a couple minutes last night. He expressed regret for not having been more clear in his wording.
More clear? You mean for lying, you pencil neck? Can you imagine? And this is a guy that running a whole show. Last December, Goldman, that's the guy who Schiff hired to do the questioning, endorsed, listen, here's his track record, folks. Listen, he endorsed discredited conspiracy theories from Christopher Steele, a former British spy who was funded by the Clinton campaign and the DNC to work with the foreign governments to spread dirt about Trump in order to influence voters in 2016. So he's full of shit.
But it was all lies.
In a 448-page report detailing the findings of his sprawling multi-year investigation of Russian collusion allegations, Mueller explicitly debunked the notion that Cohen traveled to Prague. Remember that? Goldman said this guy, Michael Cohen, went to Prague. It was a different Cohen. It was debunked after the first 10 minutes of the story came out. And this jerk-off, who's doing the questioning today, actually stuck with that. In July 2018, Goldman claimed the FBI would have been derelict if it failed to cite false claims from the Steele dossier in multiple Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act. That's FISA warrants in 2016. This has all been debunked. Goldman's article entitled FBI would have been derelict not to use Steele dossier for the Carter Page FISA warrant argued the FBI was obligated to use the debunked claims from the Clinton and DNC funded foreign operative. He's been wrong about everything. Wrong about everything. MSNBC contributor. What more do you need to know? Goldman also falsely claiming it's better during the nomination and confirmation of Supreme Court Justice Kavanaugh that Christine Blasey Ford's rape accusations against Kavanaugh have been corroborated. He said that, and that was debunked. So what do you need to know? What else? Prior to joining MSNBC, here's his resume. Goldman worked as an assistant U.S. attorney in New York under who? Federal prosecutor Preet Bharara. He's one of the biggest anti-Trump partisans out there and former Democratic Senate staffer who Trump fired in March of 27. So this is the guy who's going to be doing the questioning for the Dems.
You're a loser. You'll always be a loser.
She talking to me? I'll slap that bitch silly. Think about that. Adam Schiff and an MSNBC contributor. Guys, come on. Come the fuck on. Can you imagine if he does get impeached? They should send a chill up everybody's ass that you can be this partisan, do everything behind closed doors. It's really sickening. You know who's a big fan of this type of foolery? MSNBC again. I can't get them out of the news today. Joy Reid, one of the most hateful people, one of these black women that smiles into the camera, and you can see her hate for Whitey. It's an inch under her faceplate, and gay people. Not a big fan of the Jews. Why is she back in the news? She's giving us lectures on, or I should say liberals, on how to debate your Trump family member supporters during Thanksgiving. This is from a woman. I'm going to bring up her blog where she said derogatory stuff about gay people. 9/11 was done by, she backed theories that it was done by the U.S. government. She still has a show on MSNBC, this piece of garbage. Can't stand her. It's so funny, too. She got her own show. She lost like 80 pounds to do the show. What's that got to do with it? I don't know. She just looks totally different. Anyways, MSNBC's Joy Reid advises how to debate Trump-supporting family members. You know what I tell you, Trump-supporting people? Don't go to your fucking relatives' house who are liberals. Do what they do. Closed door, Thanksgiving. Don't let them in your house. Don't go to their house. That's right. I want family feuding. Stick your turkey up your ass. Look at the unemployment levels. I love it. I'm the crazy uncle everybody talks about. The sad thing is most of my relatives are with me. My niece, was in college. She's kind of a lefty. I threw some hot gravy in her face when she said something bad about Trump, and that ended it. Yes, Raz.
So what's your advice? Because I'm going to a home with a ton of
libs.
Democrats. Yeah.
Are you really?
Yeah, over Christmas.
Well, if you, like I said, you should stay home. But if you're gonna go you're gonna be there for Christmas.
Yeah.
Well, they're all sleeping. Pull the tree down and say you don't know how it happened. Rearrange the tags on the name tags on the gifts. Yeah. So when your grandmother opens that giant dildo, she has no explanation. Go in there and don't bring it up. Don't start. Don't provocate. But if they start talking shit, go look. I'm the producer of the Nick DiPaolo show. This guy's to the right of, I don't know who, fucking Strom Thurmond. And that'll get you some. The other thing you could do, Raz, here's what I do. You bring some food yourself, right? Make a nice, whatever, stuffing or whatever for Thanksgiving. You take the raw turkey juice, right? Yeah. You put it in the stuffing. Then watch them run to the bathroom for the next 2 hours during the Lions game. That's all I got for you, Raz. But this is what Joy Reid's lecturing us. I should say libs, and I say to her,
"Shut up! Mind your fucking business and shut up."
She says, we are just over 2 weeks away from one of the most beloved American food holidays, Reid began. Thanksgiving, where problematic actual history meets delicious cuisine. She's still, and many will be heading home to spend time with their family and friends. Eat a little too much. and perhaps engage in a dreaded, contentious political debate. Listen to this, with your cranky Uncle Roscoe when he starts yelling, read the transcript. First of all, nobody has an Uncle Roscoe. There's not one Uncle Roscoe, I looked it up, in the country. Nice name. That's passive-aggressive. She's talking about Trump supporters, so she's talking about white people, and there's no fucking Uncle Roscoes. She says, when he starts yelling, read the transcript at the dinner table between bites of turkey and pumpkin pie, you're supposed, engage them. Reid then went on to instruct viewers that they should not be concerned with minute details or terms like quid pro quo. That's a minute detail to her. The fact that Trump never used the words quid pro quo. Don't even bring that up, she says. Advising them instead to focus on terms like bribery and extortion. God,
she's a malignant cunt.
Is she ever? Here's a hint, she says. Do not worry about trying to explain the cast of characters over the overused term quid pro quo. Most people can't say it, spell it, or understand. Maybe in your family, Joy. It's something a lot simpler, she says. Bribery and extortion. Beyond the whistleblower and over 100 hours of testimony backing up the fact that Trump admitted to it and even released edited notes from his call with the Ukrainian president. You see, she's already got her mind made up. This is a fucking journalist for MSNBC. She's already, she's not even going to wait for the hearings. So she's so full of shit. What the hell else did she say? Yeah. Trump even released edited notes from his call with the Ukrainian president, which, by the way, is not a transcript. That actually proved he did it, she says. Even Uncle Roscoe and Auntie Carol, I do have an Auntie Carol, ought to understand that, she says. That's what she says. But we all know she's dumber than a fucking...
No, they're ignorant. That's ignorant.
Whatever. Reid's instruction for leftists to use Thanksgiving holiday as a venue to school their conservative family members has been a sensation among Trump haters ever since he won the White House last year. The New York Times, in 2016, the New York Times profiled ways for liberals to argue with their conservative family members. The New York Times did this, the paper of record, at the dinner table, which was quickly outdone by a publication called Eater. Eater? Eater? I can't. There's all the coats are on the bed on Thanksgiving, as George Carlin once said. Who the fuck? Oh, Eater. E-A-T-E-R. I'm sorry. That was filthy. Asserting that people are morally obligated to debate racist Trump supporters before they ask them to... You're morally obligated to bust your Uncle Roscoe's balls. And they said there is no amount of civility that can balance the harm of the xenophobic nationalism and no amount of sitting silently while listening to someone spew racial epithets that will repair what Trump and his ilk have broken, said this person, McCarthy, who writes for Eater, Amy McCarthy. Hey, Amy, why don't you do us a favor, okay? Get a nice belt out of the closet, tie it around your neck. I'm not saying hang yourself, just tie it around your neck. Let Uncle Roscoe finish the job. Oh, that's silly. Listen what this woman says. Being progressive doesn't just mean clicking like on left-leaning Facebook statuses. It requires a commitment to be a douchebag and a liar, is what I say, to pursuing injustice, even when it's your weird uncle. Why is the uncle always weird? How about the fucking aunt? I'm sure there's a few aunts who try to drown their kids in the tub and fucked around with nephews. You never hear that story. It's always the uncle and the niece. At least down here in Georgia and Tennessee and Alabama. Oh, for the love of Christ. That's an ugly stereotype. Can you imagine she's saying even if it's uncomfortable, and especially when there are other people in the room who you care about? They're actually encouraging incivility on Thanksgiving. These fucking people don't leave it alone for 5 minutes. And I say it again, you Trump supporters who are going to your Democrat family members, that you thaw out a turkey and you dole out the red juice in the gravy, in the whatever, the cake you bring in, and just watch them flock to the toilet. The civil rights movement, the women's movement, this is how they justify it. The anti-war movement, the gay rights movement, the struggle for marriage equality, all gained acceptance through tough, difficult conversations among family members who initially disagreed and vehemently with one another, argues whoever this idiot is. So they bring that up. And by the way, those things are still If we won some of those arguments, conservatives, the country would be a lot better off. Not the gay marriage shit. You guys won the culture war. Okay? But that doesn't give you the right to try to impeach a guy who was duly elected by 60 million Americans because you disagree. And point to a country other than point to a country where socialism and all your left-wing horseshit has worked. Just point to one. Please.
Who said that? Who the fuck said that? Who's the slimy little communist shit twinkle-toed cocksucker down here who just signed his own death warrant?
Back to Joy Reid and her hateful blog she got in trouble for a few years ago.
Hates Jews. Hates Jews.
Oh, we don't know that. We're just assuming. Reid apologized in December a few years ago after the website Mediate published old posts from Reid's blog, which she suggested that then Florida Governor Charlie Crist was a gay man who had gotten married as a cover. This is what she says, and she still has a job. Can you fucking imagine if Sean Hannity got caught saying this, or Laura Ingraham, or Levin? Would they still have fucking jobs? Listen, this is her. This is what she said back then. I can just see poor Charlie on the honeymoon, ogling the male waiters and thinking to himself, God, do I actually have to see her naked? Talk about homophobe. In an apology to Crist, Reid called those comments insensitive, tone deaf, and dumb, which she is all. She also said this. She also apologized to Ann Coulter, who Reid had suggested in old tweets was a man. Let me tell you something. I've seen Ann Coulter in person. She's fucking no man. Fucking, she has the mind of a man. Brilliant. Well, that was sexist. I don't give a shit. It's the internet. She's skinny. She's got huge boobs. She came to the Comedy Cellar once, and I actually got a ride with her in her limo to my next gig. But I was laying on the racist shit a little too heavy because she was in the audience. So some guy that was with her at the show, after the show, goes, "You're bad. You're really fucking bad. You're so bad, you're good," he said. I don't know what that meant. I wanted to crack his head open. Anyways, when a second round of such postings surfaced in April, she denied responsibility and claimed her blog had been hacked. An assertion she acknowledged neither she nor a hired cybersecurity expert could prove. So she's saying, I don't remember ever saying those things, but there's no proof that I didn't. So you said them, is what? And she still has a fucking job. Come on, Joy. Among the posts were comments that she couldn't watch the movie Brokeback Mountain. She says most straight people cringe at the sight of two men kissing. I got to be honest, she's right on the money with that one. I don't, again, that makes me cringe. So I'm a homophobe? No. I'll defend gay marriage and all that shit. As Lenny Clark said, more chicks for me. That being, she also said that being gay was a lifestyle, that it was immoral. In other words, they chose it. Can you imagine? She said this shit. Anybody on the right on TV would have lost this show. Other posts she put out there called out celebrities and public figures for allegedly being gay.
No, they're ignorant. That's ignorant.
Yeah, well, she is ignorant. She works for MSNBC, motherfuckers. Hey, this weekend, ladies and gentlemen, lucky me will be leaving mild Georgia and flying up north, where I will lose 2 toes to exposure. I'll be this Friday night at the Cortland Repertory Theater in Cortland, New York. The next night, this Saturday night, the Comedy Works in Saratoga Springs, New York. And then Friday, November 22nd, my first gig in my new home state of Georgia, the historic Ritz Theater in Brunswick, Georgia. And then New Year's Eve, we're going to ring in 2020 at the Tarrytown Music Hall in Tarrytown, New York. I actually lived in that town. One of the most beautiful little places. The venue's a couple hundred years old. It looks like a church. And then I'll bring my filthiness in there and turn it into the Devil's Den. Friday, by the way, we get great crowds every year. Friday, January. Oh, by the way, my gig in Cortland, only a few seats left Friday night. That's a great sign. That means this shit's working. And wait till I tell you what goes on in December. This show will be on steroids. Friday, January 24th, Ridgefield Playhouse, Ridgefield, Connecticut. Saturday, February 15th, the Kelsey Theater in Lake Park, Florida. Friday, April 3rd, the Morgan Hill Event Center in Herman, Maine. Go to Nick Dick. Here's a Freudian slip. Go to nickdip.com for all your ticket information. Don't forget to go to cameo.com if you want me to send a personal video message to 20 of your friends, roasting them. I got 2 waiting for me today. I can be mean, I can be nice. Happy birthday, or go fuck yourself to your neighbor that you don't like. Whatever. Cameo.com. Click on my profile. In other news, this was from a couple days ago. We all know what kind of horseshit's going on college campuses, and we report on it every day. And I'm almost tired of doing it. But somebody said last night on TV, I forget who it was, and it was a great comment, that what's going on in academia on college campuses all over the country is actually a threat to our national security. And it really is, because these are generations of morons. They're being dumbed down. You see the clips we play, how much these kids hate this country. They believe in hate. You should go to jail for hate speech. They believe in socialism. It really is a threat. These are future people who will go into media, like the Northwestern story we did yesterday about the media. There was a protest, Jeff Sessions at Northwestern, about left-wingers came out and broke windows and tried to shut it down. They had to protect him. And the college newspaper at Northwestern that covered it apologized to the fucking protesters. Even the New York Times came out and said that is ridiculous. But that is a threat. You're talking about an existential threat? You're grooming a whole generations to be fucking leftists, and I'll be gone by the time the shit hits the fan. Hopefully. If it takes that long. I don't know. But an example of that is the Iowa State professor. She got in trouble. She was reported to the administration by students. Little fucking snitching rat bastards. Can you imagine? She was reported to the administration for saying this in the classroom: only women have abortions. She got ratted out for that. Can you fucking imagine? At Iowa State University classroom recently, students began discussing the touchy issues of abortion and birth control. Let me ask you a question. When do you discuss math, science, and English on a college campus? Do you ever talk about that shit? Or is it all lesbian, fucking African-American studies, and fucking whatever? Do you ever talk? You wonder why we're 38th on the list of 32 as far as math and science go. Every Asian country is kicking our ass. You're watching it. You're watching it unfold. You're watching the leftist plan unfold that they they implemented 50 years ago. And it's taking root. Thank God I'm 57 and I'm lactose intolerant. What? What the fuck? So they were talking about birth control when a student spoke up and declared those topics to be women's issues. Oh, how dare that. Yet one dissatisfied student, some little rat pussy, took to the university's campus climate reporting website to complain that the discussion, which took place in September, was offensive to the trans community. Who gives a fuck? There's 11 of you in the country. How much time do we spend on trans? Literally, there's 56 of you. Okay, maybe 58. According to the student, declaring abortion and birth control women-centric issues erases trans men and people who are non-binary who get abortions and or use birth control. Whereas, where are we fucking going in this country? Where are we going? I'm having my period right now. That's why I'm so crying. I'm actually, when I read that study, men have their periods, first I reacted, oh, that's total bullshit. And then I was kind of relieved because I thought I just had a shitty personality, but apparently I'm having a 58-year cycle. If you don't believe, I tweeted this too, if you don't believe men can have periods, watch 5 minutes of Bernie Sanders. He's been riding that cotton pony for a good 73 years now. The student then reported the professor to the administration. Do you fucking believe that?
Fucking rat anyways. Whole family's all rats. Would have grew up to be a rat.
Yeah, he complained there was no pushback by the professor to get students to be more inclusive and instead repeated this erasure. Get that term down. You'll be hearing that for the next 2 years. This report was one of 49 filed with Iowa State's campus climate staff over the last year, obtained last week by the College Fix through a Public Records Act request. The names of the individuals involved were redacted by the university to protect the little rats. It's like the witness protection program. The campus and the administration protects these fucking rats who are against free speech and all this horseshit. The Iowa State climate program is similar to so-called bias response teams. Listen to this one, Raz. Bias response teams at other universities. You know what a bias response team is? When a student hears something racist, they can go to these bias response teams. It's like an emergency. And say, I heard this person say that, and then they check them out, like it's Russia, circa 19. Bias response teams. It aims to provide support for those who report being impacted by hate, intolerance, or bias on campus. In other words, pussies. Oh, my God.
Your mom goes to college.
Hunt said the campus climate reporting process has been in effect since 2017 and noted campus climate response teams include, listen to the names of these agencies on a college campus. You don't think we are mired in political correct? Listen to the titles of some of this shit. Listen to it. They include members of the Office of Equal Opportunity, Diversity and Inclusion, Dean of Students Office, Department of Residence, ISU Police Department. They'll get the police involved if somebody's feelings are hurt. Office of the Senior Vice President and Provost of University Council, University Human Resources, and Strategic Relations and Communications. Also, people can't be subject to ideas that they disagree with. Oh, my God. We have to break it up. How do you do it? Conservatives, Proud Boys, you got to start rioting. It's got to look like 1968. Only with conservatives busting heads. Well, I'm not condoning violence, but, rubber bullets, shit like that. What are those wrist rockets? Those hurt. You ever put marbles in one of those? I'll tell you a funny wrist rocket story. Our paper boy, his name was Billy, I won't say his last name. We caught him stealing our Christmas lights. My old man saw him out the window and shit, and I got all nuts because I didn't like the kid to begin with. My father said, fucking relax. So the next day, he comes to our door to deliver the paper. I'm across the street with a wrist rocket with a rock in it. And I'm fucking aiming right at his head. What happens? I let it go. Our picture window in the living room, I see shatters. I almost shit my pants. If you know my old man, he was a Marine. He didn't fall. I fucking ran to the park, which is a couple miles, a baseball park, at like 4 in the afternoon. I stayed there till 10 at night. Fucking rode my bike there and watched like 2 because I knew I was going to get fucking murdered. The old man, I don't know. He knew I was scared and he only hit me twice. But that's a true story. I digress here. Anyways, in the past year, the climate reporter system, which allows students and faculty members to anonymously report one another. We have too much anonymous in this society. You want to clean up Twitter, like I said yesterday? Make it so you can't be anonymous. Let's see how tough you are then. Lefties. Has been used frequently by transgender activists to inform on... So not only are you confused about your sexuality, you're a rat and a snitch. I don't care about your sexuality, but being a rat and a snitch, ask Raz. He's black. It's a no-no. Snitches get stitches. I say that, and Raz lives in a whiter neighborhood than I do. Over the 49 reports, about 20% deal with issues such as trans. Can you imagine? 49 reports, 20% of them dealt with trans erasure or misgendering. Again, they make up a handful of people on the planet. Anyways, I'm getting bored with this. In another complaint, a student last fall visited the Thielen Psychiatric Services on campus, and while filling out the paperwork, noticed only women were asked when they had their last menstrual cycle. Women are not the only people who have menstrual cycles, the student wrote. Trans men can have menstrual cycles, as can non-binary people. Oh, my God. Are we ever going to leave it alone?
You need to shut the fuck up.
Although after you saw the pictures of my underwear yesterday, maybe she has a point. I don't know. And let me just say something. I'm in showbiz. I get plenty of gay friends. They don't even believe in this shit. This whole trans fucking pronoun shit. They're laughing at it. Because that's how it really is. People with regardless of your sexual orientation, who have common sense, thinks This is all fucking nonsense. The student was concerned that merely seeing the question could be damaging to trans individuals, saying it could trigger dysphoria in people seeking health services. You know what? You're not meant for this planet. If you're that sensitive, you are not meant for this planet or life in general. Sorry. It's a dangerous situation. In a separate complaint, a student said seeing the words Steve King. Steve King is an Iowa congressman, and he's real right-wing, and he said a lot of controversial racial stuff that I think happens to be right on the fucking money, but you can't say it if you're a white politician. A student seeing the word Steve King on a sidewalk, and this is, quote, makes me feel as though my life is in danger and that I should hide who I am. Oh, come on.
Stop getting cunty.
It's too late. Anyways, that's what's going on college campuses, on all of them. I don't know how you turn it around, but I thought that was a pretty profound thing. This guy who's got a book out said how it's actually a threat to our national security in the future, and it really is. Finally, we keep these shows tight now. Finally, here's another thing going on. This isn't on a college campus. This is more damaging. You got to get the kids when they're young, right? That's how you indoctrinate, when they're very impressionable. Are you correct? Like my dad used to sit me down every time an Oakland Raiders game was on in the 70s when they were the dirtiest team. He said, this is who you want to pull for. It must be the Italian in him. He always liked the bad guys. I was the only one with a Jack Tatum fucking T-shirt. Tatum was known as the most vicious defensive back in the history. He paralyzed a guy for the Patriots, actually. But I remember I made the All-Star team in football in high school, and they asked me and my two other tri-captains who was the biggest influencer, and my two buddies said their dad, and I said Jack Tatum. Even my father goes, what the fuck? Jack Tatum, he was an influence in my life. I can't help it. Play the same position. Real quickly, this is in middle school. This teacher in Ottawa, I believe that's the capital of Canada. Oh, Canada, we stand on God for thee. There is no such thing, she says, as girls and boys.
Liar, whore, and you know it.
Raz, what would you do if you found out your little son, who was cute as hell, was here yesterday, and your teacher was telling him that there's no such thing? Would you have a conference with the teacher? Or you just...
I had to start considering taking him out of school, man.
You goddamn right you would. I'd friggin' help you. What do you do? School him at home? You can't. You're here. And the wife works too, right?
You could teach him.
Huh?
You could teach him.
Wait a minute. That could be a segment on this show. Watch Nick DiPaolo school a young African-American kid. And what's up? The parents of a 6-year-old Ottawa girl have filed a complaint with a human rights tribunal because of her teacher's odd ideas on gender theory.
Counselor!
According to the post-millennial, Jason and Pam Buffon, I'm going to say Buffon, no, Buffon, because I'm with them, acting for their daughter, N. They named their daughter the N-word? No, that's ridiculous. They won't say her name, are taking the Ottawa-Carleton District School Board to the tribunal. They are alleging, listen to this makes sense, discrimination on the basis of gender and gender identity in contravention of the Human Rights Code. But wait, N doesn't identify as transgender or anything else besides what she is, a little girl. Exactly. This is their argument. According to the website, in January 2018, her grade 1 class at Devonshire Community Public School were made to watch a YouTube video as part of the lesson plan on gender. This is just propaganda. These kids are little, and they're preaching this shit to them. The title, He, She, and They, Gender, Queer Kid Stuff #2. That's the name of the fucking YouTube video. Oh, my God. The video contains statements like this. Some people aren't boys or girls, and that they don't feel like a she or a he. And you know what? That may or may not be true, but it's not the goddamn teacher who should decide to be preaching this shit to your kids. That stuff you teach them. Shouldn't be part of the curriculum. Remember math, reading? What's the other one? Reading, writing, and arithmetic, some shit like that. Can you imagine? This would infuriate me. It's why I didn't have kids. That's bullshit. I didn't have kids because I got hit in the nuts with a ground ball when I was 11. Some people aren't boys or girls. They don't feel like a he or a she. And I've said this on the show myself. I've actually evolved in this. I really do believe there's a spectrum. You got good boys and girls, and there's a, some people got more testosterone, less. So there is a spectrum. But that's not the point. That's not the fucking point. You shouldn't be driving it home. This isn't what you teach in school. 2 + 2 is 8. The unarmed teacher apparently kept driving the issue with her class for 6-year-olds. This is indoctrination. The teacher reportedly told the kids there's no such thing as girls or boys, and girls are not real, and boys are not fucking real.
No! No, 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 no! No! No, 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 no!
At home, the parents say the little girl kept asking why her identity as a girl wasn't real. She wanted to go to a doctor to determine if she was a girl and said she wasn't sure if she wanted to be a mommy. There you go. Congratulations. You tricked a 6-year-old about something, as minor as her sexuality. That the subject was being drilled into the 6-year-old caused concern for the family. But when they met with the teacher in question, the educator spoke of her commitments to teaching the material. She was not concerned about N's distress, nor did she do anything to affirm the child's identity. According to the Post-Millennial, the distressed parents contacted the school's principal, Julie Derbyshire. The lessons, she explained, were to accommodate a child interested in expressing themselves as the opposite sex. Oh, my God.
Your son looks like a fag to me.
Oh, that's what another teacher said. Nobody heard from him again. Anyways, the child was reportedly being teased, but their parents simply wanted other kids to treat their child respectfully. The Buffones later met with the school superintendent, and the school board did not agree to communicate with the parents when sensitive discussions took place, nor did they agree to issue any directive or to take corrective action in order to ensure that the children of the female gender identity were positively affirmed. In other words, discriminating by telling a little girl that you really don't exist. And she says, this is fucking cancer, man. It's a cancer. Combine that, and then she'll go to college, right? After all this horse. They start them at 6. Middle school, they'll learn how this is the most racist place on the earth. And then they'll go to college and learn how to bust heads and be a social justice warrior. So I have had enough, goddammit. I am getting fed up with this. Raz, have you had enough? I really have.
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore!
Anyways, that is it for today, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget, starting Monday, 9 p.m. Eastern time, this show will drop. So write that down. It's very important. Anything else? I get everything, Raz? That's it. Remember, you guys think it. I will say it. You're very welcome. By the way, I came up with that phrase when I was living in Los Angeles in 1996. Now there's like 5 podcasts named that. And Carlos Mencia, who, by the way, he's got a reputation with sticky fingers. And I know he was there that night, and I heard him saying it on one of his albums. I actually met him and like him. I know he's got this horrible reputation. Joe Rogan sort of called him out one night. But anyways, we'll see you guys tomorrow on Patreon at the same time. Have a good day.